like to call to order the December 2nd, 2019 meeting of the Heritage Preservation Board. Can we have a roll call, Kim?
Ms. Johnson?
Here.
Ms. Milford?
Here.
Ms. Cornell?
Here.
Ms. Hallett? Here. Mr. Sprecher?
Okay, so now is the time for any public comments. If anybody has anything they'd like to discuss that is not on the agenda, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Okay, seeing none, let's move forward to the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of November 4th, 2019 as written.
I'll second that.
Roll call?
Ms. Hallett?
Yes.
Ms. Cornell?
Yes.
Ms. Milford?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes. All right, could we have the quasi-judicial announcement and the swearing in of speakers?
This is a quasi-judicial proceeding where the Heritage Preservation Board acts in a quasi-judicial rather than a legislative capacity. At a quasi-judicial hearing, it is not the board's function to make law, but rather to apply law that has already been established. In a quasi-judicial hearing, the board is required by law to make findings of fact based upon the evidence presented at the hearing and apply those findings of fact to previously established criteria contained in the Code of Ordinances in order to make a legal decision regarding the application before it. The board may only consider evidence at this hearing that the law considers competent, substantial, and relevant to the issues. If the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates that the applicant has met the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the board is required by law to find in favor of the applicant. By the same token, if the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates the applicant has failed to meet the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the board is required by law to find against the applicant. Are there any members of the board tonight wishing to disclose any ex parte communication or conflicts of interest?
No.
Okay, thank you. Any member of the public or anyone that's going to be speaking tonight, they could please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So sworn.
All right, the first application on the agenda is application 19-155, 1 North Pinellas Avenue, new sign placement. Staff comments, please.
Yes, and this is a request to place 2 new signs at a non-contributing, non-historic property for the Tarpon Springs Chamber of Commerce at 1 North Pinellas Avenue. And with respect to your criteria, the main items are on page 3 of the staff report. The chamber would like to place the wall signs on their tenant space at the Macris Building, one fronting on North Pinellas Avenue and the other fronting on West Tarpon Avenue. And again, this is a non-historic, non-contributing structure. And the signs are consistent with the block building on which they're being placed. They're simple plastic cut letters and images. And they do not interfere with the character and feel of the historic district in this area. The wall signs are expected to be able to conform with the requirements of the Land Development Code, and the sizes will be limited by the historic district sign standards. The signs are consistent with the comprehensive plan. The applicant has gone through, I think, a couple of contractors, and the Welcome Center portion of the sign is still a little too big, but we went ahead and scheduled it because she was having some issues with getting the correct drawing. But the permit cannot be issued unless the sizes are compliant. So I've given you the compliant size limits in the staff report. You can make that a condition if you want to, but again, we can't issue that building permit without it being compliant. Staff is recommending approval of the application to place 2 new wall signs at this property, and the public was notified, properly notified, and there were no comments or responses. Are there any questions?
Do you have a question? Well, seeing that there's no applicant here, I guess we move forward with any motion.
Sure, and I will just state for the record that there is no public comment.
In that case, I'll recommend that we accept CA 19-155 with the understanding that it will conform to the size dimensions recommended by the city zoning board.
Roll call?
Ms. Hallett?
Yes.
Ms. Cornell?
Yes.
Ms. Milford?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes. Okay, the application passes. Staff comments?
Yes, one item. We do finally have a contract with our consultant who will be assisting us with updating our design guidelines. Tried to get them to the meeting tonight. Unfortunately, we didn't have everything in place in time for them to appear tonight. Just was going to do an introduction. Since we're a little bit, I guess, squeezed for time now, a little more than we were, we are going to be having a kickoff meeting next week. I kind of am thinking January for a workshop with this board. It may be February, but what I'd like to do is if you could email me, your January agenda looks pretty full, so I thought maybe there might be nothing there and we could use that, but that's not going to work. So if you could email me some dates in January that you would not be available, and we're probably looking at a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday night, maybe Monday, not Friday night, obviously. Any evenings you would not be available, we'll look at the calendar and see if we can pick some dates to run past you all and see how you would do with that. But that's kind of where we're at with that.
Okay, so just a question about that. If someone were not available for the workshop, is it possible to submit information to you? Would that be the best way to do it?
Yes,
Okay.
and I think once we, get a procedure in place for how we're going to do this, we'll be advertising the workshop. We'll be advertising, for the general public. We plan to make an email list, so hopefully we'll be getting people to sign up for that. But we will have different ways people can submit comments, and of course, any board members who can't come, or even, not just at the workshop. If you have something during the course of this rewrite, as we get to a first draft that you didn't think of before, please email it to me. I mean, we're looking for all the comments we can get on this.
And what's the time frame for a first draft?
Well, again, a kickoff meeting's next week, so I don't have a time frame. We have to have this finished completely by June 30th.
Okay.
So I'd be looking for a first draft in April at the latest, I think.
Are there any staff comments?
No.
Any board comments, I'm sorry.
Just out of curiosity, they did vote for the fifth member of our board. Is that correct? Do we know who it is?
Oh, yes, the alternate is Michelle Ryan.
And Bill Sprecher was moved up to a
Okay.
full-time
Yes,
board.
and, right,
Okay, thank you.
so.
Any announcements? Well, this may be an all-time record for a meeting. But seeing no additional comments or announcements, we'll declare this meeting adjourned at 6:40 PM.
Wasn't even worth taking a shower.
Okay.
I work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Yeah, so